Good evening, class. Sorry I can't be there tonight. Um, However, I'm going to give you some instructions, and Katie will be giving you an assignment, your in-class assignment activity for the day. First off, I want to explain that don't know what happened to the video in the week one discussion. However, um, I will not grade you late for not getting the discussion done, though you may have time in class tonight to get started on that. There is a rough script for the discussion that I added to the discussion text. Let's just go look at that. We won't go through it now because I want you to read it. I added this. This is a page that I added, so you can actually read the entire script in this one page. It's only about a 3.5-minute video, so it's not very much to look at. The discussion itself, you'll find the instructions, which you really do need to read the background. I suggest you go look at this article on drug utilization review. This is an important part of patient care management, and the pharmacy is often quite involved in that. You'll note, as you probably already noticed, for some reason the content has been removed. Fact is, it was there a week and a half ago or so when I first looked at the discussion and was constructing my response. So here again, I've reproduced the summary right below that video, so you don't have to go back and forth. So start reading the background and then go on and make your posts. Let's go on to this week's assignments. As of this recording, which is early on a Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock your time, only one person has done any of the assignments. So I'm going to lead you through how this is done. The technical skills, these are going to be in just about every week. We're going to be working through various technical skills using the software. This software is model software. It is not what you will necessarily, anything like what you'll necessarily see in any pharmacy in which you work. The chains each chain pretty much has its own system, whether it's the King Super system or the Safeway or Walgreens. They have pretty much their own systems. They are beginning to talk to each other so that we can deal with things like opiate abuse and prescription shopping for controlled substances. But for the most part, this software will tell you a lot about the kinds of uses that they have. The software can track inventory. The software can track patients, doctors, insurance changes, new drugs. You'll enter at least one new drug in this as well. In each case, the prompt will be to actually go into the process. So first off, the prompt might have a video like this one. Okay. Okay, so that little clip tells you the best way to do the screenshot for any of these, and you'll be doing a lot of them. The Word template document, let's just call that up while we're at it here. We're going to open it in Microsoft Word. And note and you have to click Enable Editing. So here is your assignment. So on page 6 in the book, in the lab, you're going to add Dr. Judith. Now, Caitlin is her first name, Judith is the last name. That's important to know because we're going to go through that in a bit. So then you'd set the cursor here and then do your screenshot. Okay. So part 2 is lab 2. So there's only these two. You're going to be adding these various patients, Ray Rule, Robert Gamble, and Julie Douglas. So you'll go through the labs. This should take you 30 to maybe 45 minutes. Once you get used to using this software, it'll be much faster. So let's go back to here, the discussion post. No, that's not what I want. Sorry about that. We want to go back to here. So you'll notice that there is a rubric for grading. I will be following that rubric for each of these technical assignments. Your total assignment point value for the week is 100 points. And then each of these, you'll have 4 of these technical skills assignments, each of them worth 25 points. So let's go in and begin to use this software. First off, you need to call up the Visual Superscript software. If you have not loaded that, I hope that we can get you some help getting that software loaded right now. And if that's the case, then this video can be paused while that's taken care of. Most of you should have done it. The one person who has done her assignments has obviously been able to do that. When you do that, you will find on your desktop an icon that looks like this little guy down here. You'll actually find 2 icons. This is the only one you will use. Okay? So what you'll do is bring it up, and this is the screen you'll see first. You'll have to log in. Remember that you have instructions for that, for logging in your instructions for installing it, and I discussed that in the video for Monday, which you all should have read. Now, what we have here is a number of different radio buttons, fill RXs, print label, you probably won't be using that. A price calculator, sometimes when we get into some later labs, you might be using that. Doctor database, customer database, drug database, and insurance plan database. So you'll be doing a lot with fill RXs and with the rest of these. So the first assignment is doctors. So we click on doctors, and what comes up is this screen. Note that you have this funky little finger pointer showing what they think is your next step. in this case, what happens when you bring up any of these database uh, um, screens, doctors, customers, drugs, is it brings up the first entry in the list of entries in that screen. This comes with a bunch of doctors preloaded. So if you don't have your doctor, you search for it. Okay, so we're going to look for, we're going to see if we can find a doctor. And the one you'll be adding in this assignment is Judith, although we'll go back and do something else. Actually, I'm going to give you an example. A Dr. Jacobson, Holly Jacobson, J-A-C. We type in the first three letters of the last name. All we need is three. If we get a whole list of the first three letters and lots of next letters, we can type in a fourth and narrow it a bit. But we'll notice that there are two J-A-C doctors, Jackson and a different Jacobson. So we're going to cancel out. So the doctor we want to add is not there. So we're going to cancel out. We have in this the ability to add a doctor from the CMS database. We're not going to do that. If we go to this icon, new, what happens is the icons here are important. They only open up if you can use them after you make an entry. So there is new, there is edit, there is delete. And here there is more. If we're adding a batch of doctors, we can simply add more. There is save, an important thing, and there is cancel. So we're going to add a new doctor. Okay. Now we have, it's not more, so we have a name. Okay. And the name we're going to add is Holly Jackson. Note that I don't have to type capital letters. So the next field here is the contact field. The contact in Holly's office is Sean. Her address is 11994 West 72nd Avenue. And she is in Suite 102. So we add that. And the city is Arvada. The state is Colorado, and the zip is 80005. Now, note that one of the things that happened was that we had this thing just points to the next thing we might need. So we have the option to add zip +4. We're not going to take that option. Telephone numbers will be 720-555-5555, extension 3. We don't have a second office phone. We do have, however, a fax, 720-555-5556. There is no extension. We have as our email address, we have Dr. Holly at hollyjacksonmd.com. Okay. Quick code is merely a rapid way of identifying an individual. We won't put that in. Specialty codes are are also there. An NPI. NPI is a National Prescriber Identifier. You will have these for some. You will not have them for all. If you don't have one and you need it, you can add it. And the one I would add is 1770 543266. Okay. And then Holly's DEA number is AJ 4062092. Now you'll note there's a validate button here. We'll talk about validation in a minute when we go and look at the lab information. State license number 026831. Medicaid number is the same, 026831. We don't have any of the others. We don't have the rest of these. So at this point, this is where you are finished with entering this particular set of information. Hospital, we're going to, as a hospital, we're going to put Lutheran. We don't have a hospital, so we're just going to give the 340B clinic here. There are lists of these that we can add, and we're going to note that this is covered by the 340B plan. That's a different thing we'll talk about another time. So at this point, we are done with the doctor, and what we want to do now is save. Note now we have all of this information. Okay, so now we've saved it. This is the screen you will take the screenshot of. Note that it was after I saved. Now, obviously, you're not going to do Holly, because I want you to actually enter your own information. So fill out, this is the screen. Make sure that as much of the information as you have is there. Remember, you may or may not have an NPI number. You may or may not have a DEA or a state license number. DEA numbers are required for filing, for writing prescriptions for controlled substances. And we've been through in some of your other classes what those controlled substance schedules are. But clearly, the doctors prescribe a lot of those, and not just Schedule II substances like opioids. Schedule 4 probably as much as opioids, the anxiety agents and others like Xanax and Valium. So at that point, you're done with the doctor. Oh, by the way, your login ID for everybody is Replicator, and there is no password. I wanted to remind you of that. So let's go back and take a look at the assignment. Got that. We're going to go there. Now we're going to bring up, when you get into your textbook, remember you're going to have to set up the VitalSource account if you don't already have one, and you'll probably have to log in every time you get in. So remember your login ID and password. Now, Lab 1 is to enter a new doctor. You're going to enter Peterson, Larry Peterson. So here's the information. It comes off the prescription pad. Note that we have name, address, phone numbers. We don't have a contact. That's okay. You don't need that. We have DEA number and a state license number, okay, and a signature block. Remember, patient name has to be on here. Patient address is not necessary. No other patient identifiers, no Medicaid IDs, no insurance IDs, nothing appears on a prescription pad. So he writes the prescription on this, and you'll see some examples of those later. So he writes out the prescription on this, lists the number of refills allowed, or if it's blank, we assume 0. Product selection permitted, dispense as written. If this is checked off or circled, then we assume we have to give the brand name drug or whatever name he uses. If it is not marked, we assume we can use a generic. If it is a controlled substance, this number has to be there, has to be validated, and a state license number. Okay, so we've talked about clicking on doctors, do find, and then put in the last 3 letters of the name. So let's go to the next page. Not found in the list, we can click add, or we can click new. So now you're ready to enter the information. Then the name, we enter the last name first, followed by the first name with a comma and then 1 space between them. Enter it exactly. If you do it wrong, it will lock up on you. Don't do it wrong. Contact field may or may not be there. In this case, we know from contacting the doctor that Brandon is the contact. Enter the address, zip code. If the zip code is in the internal database, the city and state fields will automatically populate. If it is not, you can open up the zip code database dialog and click add. So you can enter that information. Phone numbers. Now, the prescriber's initials are the quick code. We could have put in HJ for Holly Jackson a minute ago. Enter the number for the DEA code. We'll get back to that. So we want to make sure that everything is in there. So then we go to the city hospital. We enter the various fields that are available. So this is what Peterson's screen should look like. And then ignore this using the print screen option on your keyboard. Follow what was there. If that doesn't work, use the print screen option. And when you do that, you either press print screen, which is up in the function keys at the very top of your computer, or if it's in a, like this particular computer I have, it's a dual key. There is an insert function and then in a box print screen, PRTSC. That means that I have to hold the function key down and press the key. And what it will do is just shoot the entire screen. And then you go back to your Word document, your template, and do an insert, or paste rather. Do a paste, okay? When you're done, save it. Make sure you save this, this document. Make sure you've saved it because you'll be coming back to Peterson another time during this class. The next page is a list of more prescribers. We'll come to those at another time as part of your assignment. So let's go back here and take a look at the DEA number. How do we validate the DEA number? First off, we have to recognize the DEA number is 2 characters followed by 7 digits. Okay, the characters for a physician will be A, B, F, M, or X, or a prescriber. Will be that these prescribers can be from community clinics, they can be hospitals, A lot of times a doctor working in a hospital will use the hospital's DEA code. That's perfectly legit if he has practice, you know, if he has practice authorization at the hospital. Okay. The first code tells us what kind of prescriber the person is. Okay. So in this case, A is a physician at a clinic. The second is the first letter of their last name. So then we're followed by a chain of 7 digits. What we have is to validate this, we add the first, third, and fifth. In this case, 3 plus 5 plus 7, that's 15. Then we add the second, fourth, and sixth, 4, 6, 8 for 18. Then we double that. Okay, so add second, fourth, and sixth, and then double that to 36. Then we add the sum of the first, third, and fifth to that doubled sum of the second, fourth, and sixth to get a total. The last digit, the checksum digit, will be the last digit of the sum of those steps. In this case, 15 plus 36 is 51. The last digit of this number has to be a 1. If it is not, then either it's a false number or it's been misentered into the system. So you need to check that. So what you want to do is check every single one of these that you put in, okay? So that's how we do this. Let's go back again and look at the visual superscript page for Holly. So in Holly's case, we're going to look at the DEA number, and we have to start off first with an edit. So we highlight this. It doesn't want to validate it. Okay, that's okay. So first, third, and fifth, 4 plus 6 plus 0 is 10. Second, fourth, and sixth is 11. Double that to 22. Add that to the 10 that we summed up for the first, third, and fifth. We get 32. The last digit should be a 2. It is a 2. Okay? So we always want to validate all of that. Now, I have made up Dr. Holly Jackson, or Jacobson. And in reality, I misspelled her name, didn't I? So I need to fix that. So Holly Jacobson is her last name. So I don't know how I did that, but that's okay. It's a good example of going back and checking things and then fixing them. And now I save it. And we have Holly in it. So I'm going to close this out and then bring it back up and then do a search for JAC. And now we have Holly Jacobson. If we broaden this field, I didn't want that, so cancel. And search, and see, it's easy to make mistakes. It's good for you to see me doing this because it will happen once in a while. So I've got Holly Jacobson. So we have our information. It's there. Okay. So now she's part of the database. Okay, so we're going to cancel out of this. We're going to close out of the doctors. And we're going to go back to this. And so here is where you would put it in your Word document. I don't have Office 365, but if I were doing this, I would do a screenshot And let's just go show how I would do this. Let's bring up again a new share. What I want to do is go back to Visual Superscript, Doctors, find okay, so we've got this. Now, in my case, I have a different way of doing this. I'm going to show you an alternative. I use something called Green Shot. So I bring this up, and what I get is something that allows me to highlight the part of the screen, just exactly like you will using Microsoft Office 365's form. There's a problem, slight problem here. Let's see, find. I think that might be it. So if I click on the document, it automatically puts it into my document. The problem here is that it is a different document than your template. So I hope you can work it out. If this does not work, remember, this is a document here. This is an object which you can copy if you need to do this. And then let's go to, I'm going to do a new share. I don't want that. I want this, week 1 assignment. And then just paste it into here, and there it is. Okay, in this case, I have Jennifer Jackson, but that's okay. So that's another way of doing it. Note that the nice thing about this is that the only thing I have in here is what I want. All right, I'm going to reverse out of that and go back to excuse me while I get here. We'll go to here. Okay, and we'll go back to the week 1 assignment. Now I want to go back up here to modules. And so that's how you do all this. And you need to get used to that. Take the time. Don't get frustrated. Learning new software can be frustrating. Just play with it. Get to know it. After you've done this a couple of times, you won't have any trouble. Now we have an in-class activity. And that in-class activity is going to be to look at prescriptions. I have a set of prescriptions that we developed for teaching this class when I was working down in Denver. And we developed these deliberately to be very challenging to read. And again, this activity, don't let it frustrate you. The object here is to learn and to help each other learn. So what you're going to have is several pages of prescriptions that you're going to spend the next hour or so of the class working as a group. And I really want all of you to work together. Nobody try to do this on your own because you will frustrate yourself. There's a couple of things that you may want to do. It can be hard to interpret the spelling that's being used for instance, a drug. So what I want you to do is look at that and try to figure out what drug it is. This is an exercise in working together. You will be always working together when you're in a pharmacy. If you get a prescription you can't read, you're going to take it to one of your colleagues, which might be another tech or it might be the pharmacist on duty. But you're going to take it and determine whether or not you have to call the doctor and say, what are you prescribing here? We cannot actually interpret this prescription. So don't get frustrated. Just work together on this. The idea is to learn. We're going to be doing this all mod. Every week we're going to do another set of these. So we want to get you used to doing this. This is also going to be useful even if you're not working in a pharmacy. You're going to be working possibly in a doctor's office or some other setting where you're going to see these. Now, I wanted to also tell you that since prescriptions are written in medical abbreviations, I have attached to this assignment a Word document that's part of, or an Excel spreadsheet that's part of your yes, here we are, table of medical abbreviations. That's part of your that's part of the assignment that will give you all of these that you're looking at, all of these various abbreviations that you might see. What I want you to understand is that they can be in uppercase or lowercase. You will also find Roman numerals. We've discussed this before. Roman numerals are used to specify often the number of tablets or capsules a patient is to take at a time, or a total number to be given in the prescription. So watch for those. Remember, Roman numerals can be capital letters or small letters. They can have lines over them. They can have dots over the I's. They can look like division signs. So again, get used to looking at these things. Okay? So let's go back to no, that's not what I want. Too many things open. All right. Okay. All right. Seem to have lost something here. So hang on, I'm going to shut this off temporarily. Okay, here we are. So you will do this activity in this class tonight, and then go on and if you have time, work on the discussion that now is much more will make much more sense to you, and you can get started on the assignments. I would suggest that if you get started on the assignments, you'd be willing to talk to each other about how to use them. I'm hoping that that you'll be able to get this done. That's going to be the end of what I have to say for this class, and I will see you all on Monday. And I hope you have a good weekend. And again, don't get frustrated with this stuff. This is a learning exercise. Try to make it fun. It can be, believe it or not. I think it's a lot of fun sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to end this video, and I'll see you Monday.